Treyarch just dropped a massive weapon balance update here in Black Ops 6 Season 1 Reloaded, and we're going to be going over everything that changed. A bunch of weapons got buffs, nerfs, and they also adjusted how recoil works. So if you guys want to stay up to date with any and all best class setups, best settings, tips and tricks, and want to be notified with any new updates, go live here in Black Ops 6 as well as Warzone. Feel free, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, and after watching the video, let me know down in the comment section, is this update a W or an L? There will be an updated top 5 meta loadouts dropping later tonight, so stay tuned. Now, as you guys can see here, we just got a massive weapon balance update. We're gonna jump right over to what changed, and then we're gonna be doubling back to the recoil adjustments. I know for a fact everybody is interested in what actually happened to all the assault rifles, SMGs, and etc. Now, for the XM4, you guys can see here, they have went ahead and reduced the damage on this assault rifle, but they increased the range. Pre-patch, it was max damage 23 from 0 to 16.5 meters. Now, the range for the damage, which is going to be 22, has been adjusted from 0 to 40.6 meters. They also added some additional literature. Note, this weapon will now only have maximum and minimum damage ranges. Interesting. They're going to go ahead and make the XM4 essentially a little more consistent. Now, pre-patch minimum damage is going to be the same as the post-patch, so they did not make any adjustments here, and it's just going to have the maximum and the minimum damage range. Now, they also made adjustments to the headshot multipliers here for all weapons as well. Additional adjustments: headshot multiplier increased from 1.15 to 1.25. Attachment adjustments: the CHF barrel attachment headshot multiplier increased from 1.25 to 1.3. Let's go ahead and talk about the Amy's 85. You guys can see here, pre-patch the max damage was 23, post-patch it's still going to be 23. Now, they went ahead and reduced the range. Now, this is going to be reduced down from 0 to 15.2 meters. Previously, it was 0 to 50.8 meters. Let's go ahead and do some medium range adjustment reading here. None. This weapon previously only had maximum and minimum damage ranges. Now, it's going to have a medium damage range. You guys can see here, the medium damage range is going to be 22, and this range is going to be from 15.3 to 50.8. So previously, the Amy's 85 only had maximum and minimum. Now they added in a minimum damage range, which is interesting. Additional adjustments: headshot multiplier increased from 1.12 to 1.2. Attachment adjustments: the CHF barrel attachment headshot multiplier increased from 1.25 to 1.3. Vertical kick and gun kick penalty improved from 50% to 45%. So essentially, when you are running the CHF barrel, you're not going to have as much recoil now if you want to be dealing more headshots. This is probably due to the fact this is a lower damage assault rifle, but also due to the fact that they did add medium damage range to this AR. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the GPR 91. Pre-patch, 23 damage. Post-patch, 23 damage. But you guys can see here, pre-patch, the range was 0 to 19.1 meters. Now, it's going to be 0 to 17.8 meters. So they nerfed the maximum damage range. You guys can also see here for the medium damage ranges, none of these have changed, as well as the maximum damage ranges, none of these have changed. Now, let's go ahead and read the additional information. Headshot multiplier increased from 1.15 to 1.25, you guys can see. And they also made attachment changes for the CHF barrel. Headshot multiplier increased from 1.2 to 1.35. Vertical kick and gun kick penalty increased from 50 to 55%. So you're going to have more recoil if you decide to use the CHF barrel on the GPR 91. Horizontal view kick and gun penalty increased from 20% to 25%. So the GPR 91 received a nerf after this update. Pretty interesting. I didn't see too many people running this assault rifle whatsoever. This is in Black Ops 6 multiplayer as well. This is not Warzone. Let's take a look at the Goblin MK2. Pre-patch 39, now it's going to be doing 40 damage, but they went ahead and reduced the maximum damage range from 0 to 39.4 to 0 to 16.5 meters. You guys can see here, medium damage range. This weapon previously only had maximum and minimum damage ranges. Now this is going to have a medium damage range. It's going to be 37, and it's going to be doing this from 16.6 meters to 39.4 meters, and they did not touch the minimum damage range. Now headshot multiplier increased from 1.15 to 1.25, and for the CHF barrel, headshot multiplier increased from 1.4 to 1.5, and the horizontal view kick and gun kick penalty has increased from 20% to 25%. So this weapon received both a buff and a nerf, technically, this update. For the Model L, they increased the damage on this assault rifle as far as the maximum damage range. Before it was 27, now it is 28, and it's going to be doing this from the same range, 0 to 44.5 meters. And the minimum damage is going to be the same. They did not make any adjustments for this update. Headshot multiplier has been increased, same values as the other assault rifles. And for the CHF barrel, vertical view kick and gun kick penalty increased from 50 to 55%. And they also went ahead and increased the horizontal view kick from 20 to 25%. So in a way, the Model L received a buff this update, which is really interesting because this was already a very good assault rifle. I don't understand the nerf to the Goblin MK2 and the GPR 91. These were already like the least used ARs in the game. Now they're definitely going to be one of the least used ARs in the game, except if you're going for headshots on them, especially for the Goblin. Now for the AK-74, all they did was increase the headshot multiplier from 1.15 to 1.27. So we should be able to get consistent 3-shot headshots with a lot of the higher damage ARs, which in my personal opinion is a massive W. Now let's take a look at the AS Val. The maximum damage range, they went ahead and increased this to 22, and it's going to be doing this from now instead 0 to 21.6. It's going to be doing this from 0 to 12.7. So they technically went ahead and reduced the maximum damage range, but they went ahead and buffed the damage. For the medium damage range, they went ahead and increased it from 17 to 18. And for the minimum damage range, they increased it from 15 to 16, the same ranges. So the AS Val received a buff this update, which in my personal opinion is really, really good. And obviously for the headshot multiplier, this went up from a 1.3. Oh, they decreased the headshot multiplier, excuse me, from a 1.3 to a 1.24. That's because this weapon is a fast firing assault rifle, but they went ahead and increased the damages. So I think the AS Val is even better than it was before, which is awesome. Let's take a look at the Krig C. The Krig has been a top performer since its release at the start of the season. We are adjusting its handling and recoil to balance against its competitive TTK. Headshot multiplier increased from 1.15 to 1.25. Sprint to fire time increased from 0.2 to 0.21, so they went ahead and slowed it down a little bit. Tactical sprint to fire time increased from 0.3 to 0.31, slowed it down a little bit. View kick strength, direction, and deviation slightly increased. View kick now progresses through pattern in short number of bullets. So the longer you shoot it, the more recoil it's going to have, which makes sense, but in all reality, this is not necessarily going to be destroying the Krig C whatsoever. It is still going to be a top meta AR here in Black Ops 6. Let's take a look at the C9. Now, they went ahead and reduced the damage. Pre-patch, it was doing 29 for the maximum. Now it's doing 26, but they also increased the range. So before it was doing 29 damage from 0 to 13.3 meters. It's now going to be doing 26 damage from 0 to 15.2 meters. Now, again, they also reduced the medium damage, which is going to be from 23 to 22, but they went ahead and increased the range to now it's going to be 15.3 to 20.3. It also has a medium damage 2, which they reduced from 19 to 18, but they increased the range from 20.4 to now it's going to be doing this all the way up to 33 meters. Previously it was doing it from 16.6 to 30. And for the maximum damage range, they went ahead and reduce the damage from 16 to 15, but it's going to be doing obviously that damage up to 33 meters. And they went ahead and increased the headshot multiplier from 1.1 to 1.27, and the CHF barrel, the headshot multiplier is going to be increased from 1.2 to 1.35. So it might actually be worth running the CHF barrel on the C9, but in all reality, the long barrel and the reinforced barrel are still going to be the better options on the submachine gun. Now for the KSV, interesting, they went ahead and increased the range. It was previously doing 26 damage from 0 to 10.8 meters. Now it's going to be doing it from 0 to 12.7. They also increased the medium damage range 1 from 10.9 to 15.9 to 12.8 to 19.7. They increased the medium damage range 2 from 16 to 29.2 meters to now it's going to be doing it from 19.8 to 31.8 meters, which is going to be pretty interesting. And they did not go ahead and adjust the minimum damage range. You guys can also see here the headshot multiplier has been increased from 1.1 to 1.25, and the CHF barrel attachment, the headshot multiplier has been increased from 1.3 to 1.38. So the KSV received a buff this update, a massive buff. Now the Tanto 22 also received a buff. They increased the range. It's going to be doing 38 damage to 8.9 meters now. For the medium damage range 1, it's going to be doing 34 damage up to 20.3 meters now. For the medium range 2, it's going to be doing 29 damage to 30.5 meters now, and they did not adjust the minimum damage range, which is quite interesting. So the Tanto 22 also received a buff this update. The PP919 received a buff as well. It's going to be doing the 25 damage to 18.4 meters, the 21 damage for medium damage range 1 to 24.1 meters. For medium damage range 2, it's going to be doing 18 to 34.3 meters, and they did not adjust the minimum damage range at all. So the PP919 received a buff, which is really interesting because it already was a very solid submachine gun. Wow, the Jackal PDW also technically received a buff. Technically, they reduced its damage from 27 to 26, but it's going to be doing this 26 damage longer to 17.1 meters. 22 was increased from the 20 for the medium damage range 1. It's going to be doing this to 22.2 meters. They also buffed the medium damage range 2 up to 32.4 meters, and they did not adjust the medium damage range, the minimum damage range, excuse me. I just had a brain fart right there. This is kind of confusing reading all these patch notes, the way they have it set up here. It's not difficult, but it's different from what we had previously. But the Jackal PDW also received a buff. Now the headshot multiplier, they increased it from 1.2 to 1.27, and the CHF barrel, they also increased the multiplier from 1.28 to 1.35. So that's interesting. They buffed the Jackal PDW, the PP919, and the Tanto 22, arguably the 3 best submachine guns. Now the Compact 92, all right, this is going to be buffs. I'm seeing green. This is nice. They increased the damage range to 13.3 for maximum. The medium damage range 1 is going to be increased to 19.1. Medium damage range 2 is going to be increased to 27.9. And for the minimum damage, they buffed it to 11 from 10. So overall, a nice buff for the Compact 92, and it's going to be sharing the same headshot multipliers as a lot of the other submachine guns, which is quite interesting. Now you guys can see here for the SOG, another buff. They also buffed the SOG. It's good to have the SOG back, and we are happy with where the balance is sitting generally. However, dual wield is terrorizing close quarters combat more than we like, so we're taking targeted adjustments to the akimbo and rapid fire attachments to keep that specific build in check. So they went ahead and buffed the damage range. It's going to be doing 21 up to 13.3. It's going to be doing 18 damage, excuse me, up to 22.9. It's going to be doing 15 damage up to 29.8 meters. This weapon overall received a buff if you're not using it in akimbo with the rapid fire, which in all reality, not that many people were using it anyway in that function. But you guys can see here, headshot multiplier has increased from 1.16 to 1.25. And they went ahead and also bumped up the CHF barrel headshot multiplier, and the akimbos were nerfed across the board as well as rapid fire. But it's not that big of a deal. Now you guys can see here for the light machine guns, We are making a small adjustment to the CHF barrel recoil to help balance an already strong headshot profile with improved stability from new visual recoil adjustments. So the CHF barrel on the XMG, this is going to be improving the vertical kick from 45 to 50%. Wow, so this is going to be a little bit harder to use, and they're also going to be horizontal view kick and gun penalty increased from 20 to 25. Overall, increasing the recoil with the XMG when you are running the CHF barrel, understandable. The PU21, they buffed the damage up to 27. This is going to be doing this up to 45.7 meters. They did not make any adjustments here, but obviously for the CHF barrel, it's going to be bumped up from 1.35 to 1.4. For the GPM or the GPMG7, they went ahead and increased the damage up to 23. It's been doing this to 55.9 meters. And for the medium damage range, they increased it from 18. It's going to be 19, and it's doing this to 55.9 meters. You guys can see here for the headshot multiplier, it's going to be adjusted from 1.2 to 1.15. And for the CHF barrel, they're making various adjustments for the headshot multiplier, and the penalty is going to be increased up to 25%, which is quite interesting. So a lot of these weapons receive buffs this update, which is insane. Melee, we are improving melee weapon attack speeds, especially on the 2-hit kill weapons. Our goal is for all melee weapons to feel unique and satisfying to run, and we'll continue to find ways to hit that target while ensuring that melee is not frustrating to play against. Interesting. So the knife, the time between melee swings improved by 7.5%. The baseball bat, they improved it by 14%, and the power drill, they improved it by 9.5%. Equipment, reduce frag inner radius damage to allow survival with flat jacket equipped. Awesome. And they also went ahead and improved UI, addressed an issue that prevented teammates outside of maximum damage range from displayed on the perimeter of the minimap. Addressed an issue that prevented teammates outside of a maximum range from displaying. Okay, understandable. Addressed an issue where previewing the gentleman's handshake finishing move at the bad manners store bundle would show the wrong animate, blah blah blah. Nobody cares about that. But they went ahead and made also various stability adjustments. This is going to be for multiplayer. Now let's go ahead and double back to the overall headshot and recoil controlling adjustments they did here. You guys can see they made overall adjustments. We have taken a comprehensive pass on weapon motion and applied reductions across the board to improve the combat experience. Depending on the class and weapon, our target for these reductions range from 30 to 75%, like we saw in the patch notes. Players will notice far more stability while turning, moving, changing stance, and firing, especially while ADS. We are committed to continuously improving Black Ops 6 gunplay with a focus on balance and rewarding gameplay while maintaining the unique characteristics of each weapon. Now, you guys can see this is like the detailed statistics on what they did, what we saw in the patch notes for the guns. Weapon motion, they reduced visual recoil on all weapons, especially full auto weapons. Reduced turn sway on all weapons, especially on higher magnification optics. Reduce gun kick on higher magnification optics on all weapons except sniper rifles. Reduce default idle sway on all weapons except sniper rifles. Further reduce idle sway while firing on all weapons except sniper rifles. Reduce weapon motion. This is going to be bob, translation, and additional idle sway penalties as a result of walking or changing stance in ADS. And they also removed additional layers of hipfire deviation, which cause crosshair to bounce while firing. Aim idle sway delay is a mechanic that scales a weapon's idle sway when first entering ADS, so the initial point of aim matches the crosshair positioning. These values are now improved and consistent across the weapon classes. Sniper rifles, which previously only scaled initial idle sway by 50%, now provide a complete reduction. As always, we'll be keeping a close eye on sniper balance after this change. And obviously they're going to go ahead and go in detail for the aim idle sway delay. But this is going to be really interesting. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about the weapon balance they made for this Season 1 Reloaded update. Overall, I think this is a massive W. Interesting that they went ahead and nerfed technically the Amy's 85, the GPR 91, and the Goblin MK2. I mean, these guns really weren't used too much. But if you're going for headshots, you know, they're going to be a lot better than they were. But yeah, I think this update was a W. Again, let me know down in the comment section. And if you guys enjoyed, feel free, drop a like on the vid, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.